Hello, my name is Chris Kiak, Vice President of Virtual Construction with BDS. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the BDS Review and Inquire tool, as well as the BDS Model Review tool for model-based approval in lieu of shop drawing approval. Here I have my Tekla Structures model that I have submitted for approval, and I'm in the C Tekla Structures models directory. I also have my BDS Review Inquire installer, and I'll just go ahead and launch that and quickly install that. I do currently have Tekla Structures closed while I'm installing this, and once that's installed, I'll then go ahead and launch Tekla Structures. We're going to use the US Imperial environment, the steel detailing roll, and the viewer license or viewer configuration. We'll then just go ahead and press OK. Then we're going to go ahead and press the Open a Model button. We will then see here in our C Tekla Structures model folder the model that we submitted for approval. We're going to select that, and we'll make sure that that name appears down here on the bottom. If it doesn't, just click in the white space and select it again so that way the name appears. Then press OK, and the model will be opened. Once the model is open, you can see that there's the entire structure here. And we're going to go ahead and launch the BDS Review Inquire tool from the new toolbar icon that appears after the installation. Here we can see the BDS Review and Inquire dialog box appear, and we'll see this approval button. We'll go ahead and press that, which will launch the BDS Model Review tool. This then loads this particular approval package for sequence 11 that we're going to review first, and it will load the current statuses and turn the model blue, showing the pieces that we need to review. Once the progress bar is complete, we can then go ahead and begin our review. Now, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to load up particular floor elevation or floor plans as well as grid elevations for bracing bays to easily review the information in the model. Let's go ahead and start with the AB plan or the anchor rod plan. Now, in some cases here, you'll see that the 2D DWG has actually been referenced here in the model, and in order for us to see the entirety of that DWG, we may need to fit the work area in the model. So we'll just click in the background, right click, and say Fit Work Area to Entire Model. When we do this, this is going to remove the colorization statuses temporarily here in the model, and what we'll do is we'll just press the Refresh Tekla button. Now we can then see all of the grid informations and dimensions for the full extent of the 2D drawing. We can then just press the V button on our keyboard and pick a location in the model, and then hold down Control and middle mouse button to rotate around in the model. Scrolling in and out with the middle mouse button zooms. Holding down the middle mouse button and dragging will pan you left and right. Again, Control, middle mouse button will rotate you. Scroll is middle mouse button in and out. And then pan is holding middle mouse button and zooming left and right. So it's very easy to navigate through the model. Also, if we do Control on the keyboard plus P, so Control P, that will easily toggle us to a pure 2D plan view. And that way we can look at an integrated 2D and 3D view together. Control P returns us back out, and now we're just reviewing the model. If we'd like the model to be transparent, we can do Control 2 and Shift 2 on our keyboard. If we'd like to return it back to solid, we can do Control 4 and Shift 4. Once we've reviewed the information down here at the base, and actually let's click on some parts to review specific properties. Notice that when I click on the plate, you'll see that it shows me some of the different property information in here that we may want to approve, including the profile thickness and width, as well as the material grade, and then the length dimensions here. What we can also do is we can press the dim button, which will then activate us to select a line here in the model and provides dimensions. The dimensions can be selected by this line by making sure that we have these snap to geometry lines and points snap here on our toolbar, as well as we're selecting objects and components here in the model. When we're done snapping those dimensions, we can right click and say interrupt or press the escape key on our keyboard. We can also select welds here in the model. This then gives us information about that particular weld, and you'll see the selected weld turns gray or magenta. Or sorry, not gray, but red or a magenta color. The cyan color represents an unselected weld. Once we want to approve something, we can select those items. We can hold down Control to select multiple items in the model, or we can even window around items here in the model as well. So Control again, and just keep selecting, or window around objects. We can then set our initials. We're going to approve these anchor rods. We agree with all of the settings and everything that we saw here in the properties that the detailer did, so we'll then just say approved. Those assemblies will then be approved here in the model. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the main concourse level. Now notice here that we have the beam sizes, the finish code, which designates the paint specification for the project. We have the profile and the number of studs for the composite floor. This allows us to easily verify the information in comparison to the design plan when we're the approver. We can then just select the pieces and verify additional information such as the end connections. The yellow end or work point here represents the start or left end, and the magenta is the end connection or right, and you can see those designated here in the properties list. These end connection codes will then tie back to the connection design mapping plans. This is currently showing the erection drawing here within the model, but if we'd like to see the connection map drawing, we can go ahead and press the C sheet button. This then loads the connection map drawing and shows the corresponding connection codes towards the end of that particular member. So with that way we can either visually check it here and compare it to the connection map design drawings, or we can just look at the connection code here in the properties list. Again, once we have some pieces that we were going to approve or comment, we just go ahead and press approved, and then those pieces are colorized here in the model. Let's say that one of these beams has the wrong stud count. We can just go ahead and select that, and then we're going to go ahead and say a comment, this needs to have the studs corrected. Then we can just say approved as noted. And you'll see that that beam turns a different color, matching the color that's here within the model review tool. If at any time you want to find anything that you've commented on, we can easily go to the different statuses, such as approved, and we can see all of the pieces that we've approved. When we select them here, they will actually highlight here within the model. If we press zoom to selected, it will zoom us to that particular location. Let's go ahead and find the approved as noted. We have one item here, zoom to selected, and now we can easily see that particular item. Let's go ahead and review the next level. So we'll go to the mezzanine level. We're then clipped to that particular location in the model, and we can see the erection drawing by default. Again, we can just press C sheet in order to see the connection map drawing, and then E sheet to see the erection drawing. If we press none, this will then just clear out the model, and we can easily inspect and click on items here. Now again, if we wanted to review connection information more in depth, we can select on the bolts, the welds, and the parts here in the model. Now let's say that we want to return to the entire view of the approval package, or this sequence. We can just go ahead and press the clear clips, and that will then show us the rest of the model. Now let's go ahead and do a bracing elevation. So we'll select sequence 11, elevation on grid W 1.8, and here we can see that we have the elevation drawing also noted. Let's switch between the connection map and the E-sheet. This just makes it easier for us to also approve the bracing elevations. If we want to review a connection in more depth, what we can do is we can use the clip by box option. This then prompts, which you can see at the lower left-hand corner. It tells us what we need to do, and we're going to pick a box or a point in the model, which we will then clip ourselves to. We can then use a couple of different commands to help us review this information more easily. We're then going to use the dim command like we did at the base plate, and this will then easily show us the information or dimensions in the model that we can use to verify the design. And then we can interrupt when we're done with that. Then if we also choose the view command, this allows us to select a surface in the model, and then we can use that directional arrow, and where you see the head of the yellow arrow, that's the positive x-axis, or the line in which you're going to orientate this new view to. This then creates a pure 2D view that's along that surface, which we can then snap dimensions manually using the Tekla dimensioning tools as well. So you just pick 2 points, so point 1, point 2, and third point there places that dimension. Once you're done, you can just close down that view. And if you'd like to tile both of those views, you can go to Window, Tile Vertically, and review the original 3D view as well as this 2D view at the same time. Let's just close that view down, and then we'll maximize the 3D view. Now that we're done working in this particular area, we'll just go ahead and say Clear Labels, and we'll say Clear Clips. And this then brings us back to the main extents of the model. Once we have the model approved and reviewed in status the way that we'd like, we can then just go ahead and press the Export button. This will then export the information that we've currently statused underneath our role, which I'm working in the architect role at this particular time, underneath this particular approval package or sequence number, which is 11. We'll then see here inside of our Tekla Structures model folder, in a subfolder called Model Review, that there is a package number folder called 11. This is the file that was then created, which is a zip file, which contains my comments and any attachments or any snapshots that I took of the model. This can then be emailed to the engineer or the builder or even back to the detailer, so that way they can import the comments and see the colors and statuses based on my review. To import the statuses, you simply press the Import button. You're then browsed to the model folder. Here we can see the Tekla Structures model folder, and we'll just go ahead and go to the Model Review subfolder, select on that zip file, press Open, and it's then going to import that information here into the model. If we'd like to create a report that we can use and keep as an external copy from the Tekla Structures model, in which we could stamp and share with other parties and for record sake, we can press the Report button here, which will then generate an itemized report of all of the assemblies that are in this particular sequence and approval package. We can then come in here to set some filters, and we can look at any of the approved as noted, for instance, and see that particular beam that I approved as noted, and we can see the comment. This also has the eSheet reference number, as well as the name, the elevation of the steel, as well as the grid location. That way you can easily use the report and go find this particular piece on the 2D drawings or in the 3D model. Thanks for watching this video of the demonstration of the BDS model review and approval process. Once you're complete with everything, you just close down the tools. And since we're in the viewer license, you can't save or do anything, so you just go ahead and exit out of Tekla Structures, and you have now completed the model approval process.